Ross.
Hey, Barra.
How you going?
Good, mate.
Just get on
There
the
we
right,
go.
get on the right terms. Have you ruled out Ballantyne already, or are you going to just let the door
Yeah,
open?
he'd like to leave it open. He had surgery. I haven't got the full. But I don't think it's relevant. Obviously, there's a crack in his jaw, and they've had to do a bit of work. And yeah, look, he's a tough little bugger, and he played early in the year, but with one. So look, it could be done, but I'm pretty keen to look after him.
What's the difference between this time and last time? Is it just a case of this is the second time he's done it?
Yeah, I think that's a fair comment. Yeah.
So that looks Subin, De Boer, would they be the front runners? Crozier plays the whole game.
Yeah, along those lines. Yeah, we've been really pleased with Hayden, Crozier. Yeah, Matty De Boer's in good form. Sub's been a really important player for us, and he brings real speed and kick to the team. Sub. So Matty De Boer brings real grunt and chase and tackle. So. Yeah, the Clancy Pearce played really well his last game, and then you got sort of Morabito. You know, do we just that powerful sub? You know, probably unlikely, but it's something we would think about. And then the ruck combo, do we go a bigger man with a Griffin that we almost went with last week? So look, there's some permutations to work through. All we know is like until you get to the line, anything can happen. Like, you know, and there's certainly no excuse for Daniel, but you get on the plane the next day and he starts throwing up out of nowhere, and he has to get isolated on the plane. He recovered in time, but you know, so the message really out of that is anything can happen. So we take nothing for granted personnel wise. You hope to get him to the line, but you know, I've woken up games previously where two players can't play after you finish the meeting the night before. So there's always that. You've got to be on your toes for the unexpected.
Was there a discussion about not playing Pearce?
Yeah, of course there was. If you're throwing up in your crook, of course there was. So, but at the end of the day, he recovered well enough, and yeah, I made the decision that with him that he was right to go. And I thought he set up Pav's goal, and it was just his high speed and energy levels weren't quite the same. But you know, he'll certainly bounce back this week.
Ross, how's Michael Barlow?
Yeah, he was in a moon boot yesterday. He's pretty confident he'll play. So, but in saying that, we'll give him all week. And you know, was it stomped on? Was it a bit of bursitis? I don't know exactly, but he's got a bit of a sore foot. But yeah, he was up and about yesterday, Mick. Yeah.
Luke McFarlane?
Yeah, look, it's like the never-ending story, isn't it? I keep saying the same thing. You blokes keep asking. He's progressing. I think it's unlikely. But yeah, we're rehabbing him. I just put him out of my mind until I get told they're back, no one's told me that, but I've been away for a while. We tried to get out Thursday, but we left Friday. I got back yesterday morning from Adelaide, so yeah, and it was a day off. But yeah, I think it'd be unlikely. Yeah. We're really thrilled with how we're defending, and look, we were well in the game on the weekend, you know. So particularly the second half, and I thought our poor ball use early put us under some pressure. So we were well in that game with some challenges throughout the whole week, and they're a complete team. So yeah, I lost no admiration for my playing group.
How pleased were you with Silvani and Dawson, the performance they had?
Yeah, look, there's a lot of pressure around the ball. The conditions probably helped a little bit. It was wet and it's a small ground, pretty tough ground for forwards, and very narrow, slippery square. So yeah, I thought they competed.
Matthew Pavlich looks like he's bounced back to some of his best form.
Well, I think it's a product of how the ball's been delivered. Yeah, he's in pretty good nick. Yeah, he's a really good wet weather player too, Matthew.
You mentioned on radio last night that you had a chat with Matthew a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I talk with all my players. Yeah, so you know, he had a couple of concussions. I always just check in. How are you, mate? Is there anything we can do? Yeah, so we have a really healthy working relationship. But certainly we don't go out and socialise together. But we've got a common thread called the Fremantle Footy Club team that we're working pretty hard to make successful. So when things aren't going quite right with players, the senior coach's responsibility is to check in with them and work with them and try and figure out some solutions. So, but Matthew he's like Mike and Power, mate. You just give him a little tickle in the rib and away he goes. So.
Ross, what did you make of Port Adelaide on Sunday?
Yeah, they were really impressive. Super team. It's everything we thought. You know, they demolished Carlton the last time. Pre-us, they've demolished Richmond. But we'd like to think we're a different proposition than Carlton or Richmond. We feel we've got all the mechanisms to handle what they throw at you, but in saying that, you've got to bring that to life. We understand They're a very disciplined team, they're a very hard-running team, they're a very hard team. And that's what it should be. If you're getting teams that are undisciplined and don't run and aren't hard at this point end of the season, well, the competition's in a bit of trouble. So the best teams are floating around at this point, and it'll be a fierce contest, it'll be a great show, and we're looking forward to, you know, all the purple getting there and being as loud as they can to support our players. And they've done that magnificently. I'd expect that to be the same again this week.
You mentioned ball use from your game on Saturday, and I heard you talk about Port's mid-turnover and their ability to hurt teams on the turnovers last night. Do you write off last week, or do you talk to the guys about decision-making? Was it composure? What were the sort of specifics of it?
Yeah, it was a bit of, well, there was some tough conditions. It was just a bit cute in the conditions, really, in the ground. But Subi's a different kettle of fish, and it's going to be dry, so I've got to be careful how much I drill into it, you know. So, yeah, it was just we could have taken some yardage at times.
The smothers, there seem to be a lot of smothers.
That's what good teams do. They apply great pressure, you know. So desperate diving, you know, maybe some decision making in there. Yeah, it was, they were pretty good, Sydney.
Kieran Jack said that last time they played here that the crowd was a factor. It actually it was almost intimidating. Is that the sort of thing obviously you're hoping for this weekend, and do you think it is a factor that it's playing at home?
Well, I'm seeing the crowd get a kick.
That's true.
But in saying that, the energy and it's great to run down an environment that you know is behind you. So, yeah, we would like them there getting behind us, yeah.
It was only 2 weeks ago that you played Port. Do you have to change anything tactically just to mix it up, or are you pretty much going as is?
Yeah, look, we're still working our way through that. You know, there's always subtle things, but basically, teams at this point have strong DNAs, game plan, how they play with and without the ball, and how they compete. So, it's not about tricks. Tricks don't get it done.
What were some of the things that you learned 2 weeks ago?
Win the ball, make the tackle, and everything else take care of itself, really.
You had a really good run against them. I think it was 9 straight goals or something along those lines. Can you use whatever you did in that patch to try to expose them for longer periods?
I wouldn't have thought so. We always thought about the past is irrelevant, and it's going to be irrelevant again. How we play is how we play and how they play. It's a bit about who doesn't fumble, who doesn't drop the mark, who sticks to tackle. Everyone wants to talk about footy in abstract terms and tactics and strategies. That's not what gets it done. Let's be really clear on that. Men win footy games. Men who put their head over the ball. Men who give great effort. That's what gets it done.
Ross, excuse me. You must be pleased with Aaron Sandland's his palming and tapping on Saturday was outstanding.
Oh, look, you say that. Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, but could have been better earlier probably. Or was it the mids? Is it chicken or the egg? Was he doing that early and we weren't there? Or he wasn't doing it and we were there? I'm not too sure sometimes. But yeah, he had some influence.
Ross, you've indicated that Ryan would probably go to Travis Boak.
Yeah, and Corns would probably go to Hill. That's the way it works, yeah.
Any temptation at all to send him with Robbie Gray? Has Robbie Gray become that dangerous player where you
Oh, he's a good player, great player, Gray, isn't he, at the minute? So, not unless you want Crowes playing full forward the whole game. So. Do you know what I mean? Like, he just flicks in and out of the middle. You know, look, you can't tag everyone. Yeah, Boak's their leader. He's a great player. Look, will we change? We could change, but at this point, I reckon Corns will go to Hill, and I reckon Crowell will go to Boak. But he could change.
How close were you last weekend and then now this week to playing the 3 ruckman? You mentioned Griffin before.
Well, look, we always toy with it. It's probably unlikely. They're a great running team, but it does the ruck combo change. So I'd suggest, as you said, Aaron was pretty handy, but Zach's been a bit up and down. So Zach, we've already spoken, he knows he's under pressure. So, and we've got Griffin and Hanneth and Abness. So maybe we just go with another bit more power forward. But Zach's done a bit right, but we're not. We're just been a bit up and down. Probably Hawthorn are a team that their second ruck's changed a little bit, and sometimes it has an effect. So that's something we're thinking about.
Zach seemed to take a lot of steps forward last year. Has there been a reason why he hasn't continued that trend?
I think he's taken some steps forward this year. You've got to understand the young players. Like, everyone wants to hang Taberner out. Like, he's a second-year player. Zach, 200 centimetre, young, basketballer, come in, skinny. Takes a long time to become a Aaron Sandlands type ruckman and Matthew Pavlich type forward. So you've got to keep growing that. The young tools take a long time. So I'd suggest he's grown, but you know, at the end of the day, you get to the pointy end, and it's a bit about you can't always wait.
That an injury over summer, did that set him back a bit in terms of building up his fitness?
I don't know. I couldn't talk for. No, he's fit. It wasn't ideal. Wouldn't have been ideal, but it's a long time ago. I don't think it's playing any part in his form. But 2 weeks ago, he was great against Port. So that's probably what he's got in his favour. He was pretty good.
Ross, you spoke about your midfield in that first half not getting the job. Do you bank on that just being a one-off, and do you have a chat to them as a group this week at all?
Look, we have a strict review process we go through, and everything's addressed. This game preparation is no different to what round 1 was, or round 10, or GWS. I know I keep repeating it, but it's the same. So they'll get their feedback at the right time from their midfield coaches, really, and in the review. So, yeah, it's not dramatic. It's just simple. You know, they played very well overall, but it was just probably when we needed them a little bit more, they weren't quite there.
Ross, you mentioned Taverner. You keen to give him another go?
He's playing, so you can lock that in, unless something goes awry. Why wouldn't he? He's the future.
Is it fair to say your best football has been played with the structure with Matt, both the Matthews, Matt Taverner and Matthew Ballas as targets?
Well, lately, yeah.